I never imagined I'd be back in my childhood home in Savannah, Georgia, on Thanksgiving, being accused of stealing from my own father. But there I was, surrounded by the scent of cornbread stuffing and betrayal. My name is Vanessa Carter, and at 34, I'd built a solid life on my own terms. After a decade in Austin, I'd worked my way up to become a fraud analyst at a Fortune 500 insurance company. Ironically, I spent my days exposing white-collar crime. Never thought I'd be accused of it myself. That morning had started just like always. I arrived early to help Dad with the cooking. He'd been moving slower lately, ever since his mild stroke in the spring. At 68, he wasn't the same man who used to smoke brisket in the backyard all day. "Check the sweet potatoes," he murmured. His tone was off, distant. Then my brother Jordan walked in with his wife, Mia. He offered no hug, no smile, just a stiff nod. My younger sister, Brianna, arrived last, scrolling her phone like the world depended on it. Tension clung to the air. We sat through appetizers in uneasy silence. But when Dad placed the turkey on the table, Jordan stood up so fast his chair toppled. "We need to talk about the $50,000 0 cents, he snapped. I froze. "What money?" "Don't pretend," Brianna cut in. "We saw the withdrawals. You helped set up Dad's online banking and then it vanished." Dad looked down, voice cracking. "It was for my treatment, Vanessa." "How could you?" Dad's voice was barely audible, cracking under the weight of betrayal. "The treatments. My cardiologist said I'd need surgery within the year, and Medicare won't cover all of it." We'd all been stressed about the cost, but stealing? Framing me? "I'm a fraud analyst," I said, my voice trembling but firm. "I investigate financial crime for a living. Why would I steal money from my own father in a way this obvious?" "Because you thought we'd never suspect the golden child," Brianna snapped, crossing her arms. "Perfect, Vanessa. College degree, fancy job, living out of state. No one ever questions you." Her bitterness cut deeper than I expected. Brianna had always marched to her own beat, bounced between part-time jobs and stayed in Dad's guest room. But I hadn't realized that beneath the surface, resentment had festered for years. "Return the money," Jordan demanded, "or you'll never see Dad again. We've already talked about a restraining order." That was when everything clicked. Jordan's new pickup truck, Brianna's designer bag, things that didn't add up on their incomes. Without a word, I reached into my tote and pulled out my phone. I'd been working a corporate case for months, an internal embezzlement scheme involving forged documents and bank withdrawals. Just last week, I'd received surveillance footage from local banks. "You want to know where the money went?" I asked, unlocking my phone. I've turned the screen toward them. First National Bank, October 15th, 2:15 p.m. The first withdrawal. Clear as day, Jordan, in his Carolina Panthers jacket, standing at the counter. Brianna beside him, glued to her phone. "That's fake," Brianna stammered, but her voice had lost its bite. "Bank footage is digitally watermarked and time-stamped," I said calmly. "It's admissible in court." "And the forged signatures on the slips?" "Forensics flagged them immediately." Dad's eyes widened. "Jordan? Brianna? What is she talking about?" I pulled a folder from my bag, my personal copy of the report. 3 withdrawals, I explained, laying out the documents. October 15th, 20K. October 18th, 15K. October 22nd, another 15K. Same 2 people each time. Dad picked up the pages with shaking hands. "But how did they get my account info?" "Remember your overnight stay for pre-ox testing?" I asked gently. "Jordan insisted on staying with you. Your wallet was in the room." The realization hit him hard. They'd waited until I helped him set up online banking, then used it against me, banking on the fact that I'd be the first suspect. "The dealership was going to repo my truck," Jordan admitted. "We thought we could replace it before anyone noticed." "You framed me," I said, cold rage rising. "You stole from Dad and tried to destroy my name." "You always had everything," Brianna cried. "I was just sick of being invisible." Mike's wife, Mia, silent until now, stood up. "You told me she took it," she whispered. "Not that you did." The silence in the room was suffocating. I've already contacted the bank's fraud division, I said quietly. They're waiting for Dad's confirmation to move forward. Vanessa, don't, please, Jordan begged. But Dad looked up, his voice steady now. Family doesn't steal from family, and family certainly doesn't try to frame family for theft. I reached across the table and gently took Dad's hand. I already spoke with the hospital, I said quietly. They can reschedule your procedure for next month. I'll take care of everything. You don't have to do that, Dad said, his voice rough with emotion. Yes, I do, I replied, because that's what real family does. We help each other, we don't lie, we don't steal. Across the table, Jordan and Brianna sat stiff and silent. Dad reached for his phone with trembling hands and dialed the number I had given him weeks ago, First National's fraud department. I listened as he began the heartbreaking process of reporting his own children. As he spoke, I looked at Jordan and Brianna. Really looked. When had they turned into people capable of this? Was it years of resentment? Pride? Desperation? The turkey sat cold and untouched on the table, surrounded by plates that no one had the appetite to clear. This wasn't the Thanksgiving we imagined, but it was the one we'd never forget. The next few days were a blur. I took time off work to help Dad sort out the mess. Talking to police, scanning records, drafting reports, each conversation unearthed a new betrayal. On Saturday morning, Dad handed me a folder. I found these in Brianna's closet, he said. Inside were credit card statements. 6 accounts, all opened in his name. Thousands spent on clothes, salons, high-end restaurants. I sifted through them with detached efficiency. My analyst brain kicked in, even as my heart sank. This is identity theft, I said quietly. She's been living off your credit. With the bank withdrawals, this isn't just bad, it's criminal. They'll go to jail, Dad whispered. My own kids. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Mia. Can we meet? There's more you need to know. We met at a quiet cafe near the river. She looked exhausted. Jordan's gambling again, she said, eyes dull. The car wasn't in danger of repossession. He lied. He used the money to pay off betting debts. I swallowed hard. Jordan had gone through rehab 10 years ago. We'd all believed he was clean. There's more, Mia added. He got Tommy involved, told him to tell police he saw you at the bank, said it was just a joke, a harmless family prank, he called it. My stomach turned. He dragged his own son into this? He told Tommy no one would get hurt, but my son's been crying for 2 days. I'm leaving him, Vanessa. I won't raise a child in this madness. Back home, I found Dad in his study, holding a photo from my college graduation. Were there signs, he asked. Did I miss them? We all did, I said, sitting beside him. They hid it well. The doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw Brianna pacing nervously. Don't open it, I warned, but Dad already had. She burst in. Dad, please, you have to drop the charges. They're saying it's felony fraud. You should have thought of that, Dad said, voice steely, before you stole from me. If you've been holding your breath like I was, just wait until you see what happened when the police got involved. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what came next, because this Thanksgiving fallout was just the beginning. The shiny new iPhone in Brianna's manicured hand gleamed under the porch light, paid for with money she stole. You're not a failure because of me, I said quietly. You're in this position because of your choices, and now you have to face the consequences. The police called this morning, Dad added, his voice hoarse. They want us to come in tomorrow to discuss pressing charges. Against both of you. Brianna's face crumpled. You'd really send your own children to jail? You really tried to frame your sister for theft? Dad countered. Just then we heard the crunch of tires on gravel. Jordan's car pulled into the driveway. He got out looking nothing like the sharp-dressed financial advisor he played at being. Shirt wrinkled, hair unkempt. Family meeting, he announced, striding in without knocking. I have a proposal. You're not supposed to be here, I reminded him. The police were very clear. He waved me off. This is more important. He looked at me. Vanessa, you make good money. If you just loan us enough to replace what we took, Dad can tell the bank it was a misunderstanding. I stared at him. You want me to pay you to cover the money you stole? To erase the fact that you tried to destroy me? Dad's voice sharpened. Are you actually suggesting that Vanessa should fix your crimes? It's not just about money, I said, standing. You got your own son to lie to the police? You crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Jordan's mask cracked. You don't understand. If this gets out, I lose everything. My license, my clients, my career is over. Maybe it should be, I shot back. You betrayed every ounce of trust anyone gave you. She told you, he muttered, jaw clenched. Andrea had no right. She had every right, I snapped. She's protecting Tommy, something you clearly failed to do. Brianna, still seated, finally spoke. Maybe Jordan's right. If Vanessa helps, no, Dad cut her off. No more lies, no more bailing you out. You need to face what you've done. Jordan's expression turned cold. If you go through with this, you'll never see your grandkids again. The air went still. But Dad didn't flinch. If that's your choice, Jordan, so be it. But I won't be blackmailed. Not anymore. I looked at them, my own siblings, strangers now in every way that mattered. You should leave, I said. The police have your statements. They'll be in touch. You're really doing this to us? Brianna whispered. Your own family? You stopped being family when you stole from Dad and tried to ruin me, I replied. Everything since has just proved it. They left, and as the door closed, Dad sat heavily in his chair, shoulders sagging. I keep hoping I'll wake up, he said softly. Took his hand. We'll get through this, one step at a time. But as their cars disappeared down the street, I wasn't sure we ever truly would. Some things, once broken, should stay that way. Jordan was sentenced to 18 months, Brianna got 12. Both were ordered to pay restitution. Outside the courthouse, Andrea approached us. Tommy trailed behind her, wrapped in his father's oversized jacket, eyes fixed on the ground. Vanessa, Andrea said softly, Tommy has something he wants to say. My 16-year-old nephew stepped forward. His voice trembled. I'm sorry, Aunt Vanessa. Dad said it was just a joke, that no one would believe me anyway. I didn't know. I cut him off with a hug. He stiffened, then melted into me, sobbing against my shoulder. I don't want him to go to jail, he choked. I know, buddy. I whispered. What else could I say? How do you explain justice to a boy who just wanted to believe in his father? Dad rested a hand on Tommy's shoulder. You'll always have a place with us, no matter what. Andrea wiped her eyes. We're moving in with my sister next week. I filed for divorce yesterday. Another piece of our broken family, lost. That evening, I found myself digging through old photo albums and DVDs in Dad's den, surrounded by dusty fragments of a better time. Brianna's high school graduation, Jordan's wedding, before everything fell apart. Christmas mornings, poolside summers, laughter once loud and easy. Dad walked in quietly, settling beside me. Trying to understand when it all went wrong? I nodded. When did they stop seeing me as a sister and start seeing me as competition? He sighed, picking up a photo of Brianna in her first ballet recital. Did your mother and I cause this? By celebrating your achievements? By helping with college? No, I said gently. They made their choices. Adult choices. And now they're facing adult consequences. He nodded slowly. Still, a parent always wonders. There was a pause. Then, they want to meet with us, before sentencing. I stiffened. Why? Their lawyers think showing remorse might help with sentencing. He squeezed my hand. We don't have to go. But a week later we did. The lawyer's office was sterile and cold. Jordan and Brianna sat across from us, looking smaller, hollowed out. I've started going to Gamblers Anonymous, Jordan began, twice a week. I should have gone years ago. I'm seeing a therapist, Brianna added, eyes downcast, trying to work on my self-worth issues. Their apologies felt rehearsed, scripted. But I listened. So did Dad. Expression unreadable. Finally, he spoke. I believe you're sorry. Sorry you got caught. Sorry you're being punished. But are you sorry for what you did? Neither of them could answer, not really. He stood. I hope prison teaches you what we couldn't. But I don't trust you, and I'm not sure I ever will. As we turned to leave, Brianna called after me. Vanessa, don't you have anything to say? I paused. Just this? I would have helped you. All you had to do was ask. You chose betrayal over trust. That's what hurts most. Driving home, Dad broke the silence. You did the right thing. Did I asked. Yes, he said firmly. You're not responsible for their ruin, only how you rise afterward. And for the first time in months, I believed him. That evening, we sat on Dad's porch, the fading sun casting gold across the garden. 2 unopened letters rested between us, one from Jordan, one from Brianna. They've been writing every week, Dad said, touching the envelopes. Andrea says Jordan is leading a Gamblers Anonymous group inside, and Brianna's teaching accounting to other inmates, I added, keeping my voice neutral. The ones they sent me? Still sealed? Still in the drawer. Tommy's doing well, Dad continued. His grades are climbing. Andrea says he's talking about studying law. I smiled. He wants to help people like us. Those who've been manipulated. We had dinner with Andrea and Tommy twice a month now. Slowly we were rebuilding something new. Family rooted in truth, not obligation. Vanessa, Dad said gently, I've been thinking about forgiveness. I tensed. Not forgetting, he clarified. But carrying all this anger? It's heavy. He was right. The anger I thought protected me was beginning to isolate me. Just last week, I'd walked out on a promising date because the guy mentioned his siblings. I got a call from the restitution office, I said. Jordan and Brianna have started making payments. Small, but consistent. Dad nodded. Baby steps. Do you ever wonder if we did the right thing? Every day, he said. But then I remember. They made their choices. I picked up Brianna's letter. Not ready. That's okay, he said. Healing takes time. We sat in silence as the sky turned purple. Life was moving forward. Dad had even started seeing someone. Just coffee dates, nothing serious. I've been offered a new role, I said. Leading a fraud prevention program. His eyes lit up. Vanessa, that's incredible. I want to turn all this into something that helps others. He squeezed my hand. Your mom would be proud. You too, I said. You stood strong. Later, at home, I moved the letters from my drawer into a box labeled Family History. Not forgotten, but no longer shaping my present. A message lit up my phone. Tommy got an A on his ethics paper. Says you inspired him. I smiled. Tell him I'm proud. Sometimes family breaks, but in the cracks something stronger can grow. And that's where I've chosen to live. Among the real, where trust is earned and peace is possible. If you've ever had to choose peace over family, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, advice, or even just a few words of support in the comments. I'm learning that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about rebuilding stronger. If my story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe. Sometimes, we survive by turning our scars into stepping stones for ourselves and others.